It's a pleasure to be here this afternoon because normally I get the 9 o'clock in the morning session after the evening social, so it's really good just to be here after a nice French lunch. What I'm going to talk about is the policy response tool set. This is made up of, at the moment, possibly 2, maybe 3 parts. The first part is a written part, which outlines the notion of policy and different aspects of policy response. The content of that document and the content of the animation I'm going to show you is based upon research that we undertook in terms of the standards of leadership and management in Scotland. So it is research grounded in the sense that the data that we're presenting is not something that we've just made up. Hopefully it's actually based in research evidence that we've actually generated. What we thought would be a good idea, because when there's a document actually which is done by the Irish government which looks at international development, which actually used animation to try and say what a great nation Ireland is, God bless them, to be able to promote the idea of international development and national aid that was being delivered by Ireland. And so we thought, wouldn't it be good if we could somehow play with Lego in terms of developing an animation which, sitting alongside the written text and maybe some other workshop activities, could be shown in a way which would transcend languages, which would transcend countries, but yet in some ways speak to what we understand about policy from our research. And the three things that this this animation attempts to speak to is the notion of policy enactment. In other words, the notion of what is policy and how complex the policy process it actually is. The second thing is related to policy implementation and the barriers to implementation that many stakeholders face in terms of getting policy actually off the ground. And the third thing is policy engagement. In other words, how can stakeholders within schools, through processes of creative social action, actually engage with policy in a way which actually makes it happen? So what we tried to do was to take those 3 themes which are emergent from our research and try and create this animation using Lego, which is 2.5 minutes long. It is a prototype. Sophie's worked immensely hard on this. We hope you treat it with the respect it deserves, in the spirit in which it's offered, and actually use it and think of it as a prototype for us to gauge feedback, whether you think there is any mileage in this at all, or whether there's ways in which maybe it can be tweaked or altered. So with that, I'll just leave you to have a look at the animation. This was based on Nora on a bicycle. don't know how many hours of work that is, Sophie, but believe me, it's a lot to be moving little pieces of Lego around, even on that way. So please just have a think about that. Feedback in the sessions. Give us your feedback, what you think, whether it works or not. As I said, it's not freestanding. It will sit alongside something else in terms of the written text, certainly, which we've already developed, which I think has already gone out to you. And the other thing is potentially, and I know this is something that Kathy's already involved in, is this Lego Serious Play initiative, which is another European initiative. And it may well be that something like that, sitting alongside a workshop activity with school leaders, using Lego Serious Play, is something in which, again, they could further look at the whole notion and idea of policy response and what it actually means in terms of being a school leader. So for me, Sophie, thank you.